Hey guys, Chris the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the channel. Another unboxing today of some weird and wonderful old things, and this is an unboxing with a difference. A lot of the unboxings I've been doing out of my emergency store shed and the shop, I've owned for a long time, and occasionally I have no idea what it is. Sometimes I have a bit of an idea. This one I didn't even pack up. Now, I'll give you the backstory very quickly. A lady dropped this off. We'll call her Jackie because that's her name, in 2021, so December, so it's just over 12 months, about 14 months ago. And the story was her dad had passed away or moved into a home, I don't remember, and she was cleaning up his house in New South Wales, a fair way from here, and she rang me up because she lives around here and says, "Are you interested in this stuff from Dad's shed? I don't want to throw it out." So I said, "Yep, bring it down." She said, "There's a lot of old tobacco tins full of hardware and stuff." I said, "Absolutely, love shed stuff. Bring it down and we'll sort it out. I'll work out something for you." She brought it down in December, so that's two Decembers ago. And then I put it aside and said, "I'm not going to get to it for a little while. The shop's really busy over Christmas and the summer holidays. I'll get to it soon." She said, "No rush at all." And then, of course, we all know what happened in 2022. COVID continued. I had found out I had to leave my shop. The place was sold. I was under pressure to relocate 20 years worth of stuff. I then had shoulder surgery. It was a big year of not getting back to things I should have. So without any further ado, let's go through Jackie's stuff and see what's in here. You and me both for the first time. Okay, after that extremely long-winded introduction, but I like to set the scene, here's what Jackie brought down. Now, it's a nice timber box full of old tobacco tins, and listen, they're all full of stuff. I don't know, I opened one and it was just some old wood screws. So it might be all hardware, it might be pretty boring. There might be some badges. I've found coins, I've found everything in shed tins. So we'll open those quickly together and see what's in it. It's like a lucky dip, where it could be all junk, but isn't that most lucky dips? There's also a box here. Now, I have looked in this, and I think if I remember correctly, there was a really good oil bottle. So I know we're going to be giving Jackie some money. Let's have a bit of a pan in here quickly now. I think that's a camera. There's two oil bottles under there. There's a blowtorch, a pressure Kero blowtorch. They're fairly common, but they sell quite well. There's some army boxes, a couple of oil cans. We'll go through it, we'll pull the stuff out, and we'll go through these tins. Let's start with this box first. Now, we'll unpack this. I'll give you a bit of an idea on what prices I will sell the stuff for, and some of the things I will probably have to do a bit of research on, and then we'll work out what we're going to pay Jackie at the end of it. So these pressure lamps or blowtorches are very common. You're designed to sit a soldering iron there, so you'd heat your soldering iron up. They do polish up very nicely, and you often see them on the internet priced very, very expensively. I don't go to the trouble of polishing them, and I think I'd probably put about $20, $25 on this. It feels like it would probably work. It does pump up a little bit. It's got to pressurize the... we'll see if we got any pressure in there. You can usually feel if it's pumping. No, there's no air pressure, so it probably needs new washers in it. Regardless of whether it works or not, I think we'll go maybe $25. Now, I think this is a camera, and I'll probably have to do a bit of checking on this online because some cameras can bring a lot and some are much more common. We've got some booklets with it, some Kodak stuff. Looks like that's for a light meter. Perhaps it's probably, yeah, that looks like that would be the light meter. We'd probably sell that separately. There's a flash unit, electronic flash. Really hard to sell those. Most of the times the batteries are left in and they corrode badly. So it's a folding camera. All right, we'll open that up in a second. And it looks like there's some, I'm not sure what's in that one. Nice little tin. It rattles. We'll check that out in a minute. And it looks like this is probably film, is it? Or is that another electronic flash? It looks like it is, yes, another electronic flash. So not much value there. We might get $5 if it's in good condition and it works. And I'm guessing this is film. Oh no, that's possibly a filter. So it's accessories to go with the camera. This one says lens hood. Nice old Kodak boxes. And yeah, that's a filter or a lens protector or something. Oh yeah, that's the hood, I suppose. Looks a bit grotty. So we'll probably sell all that with the camera. We'll check out the model of the camera. And I might just check eBay completed items to see if these are a sought after model. So it is a Kodak and it's a folding one. If we push a button down here, it opens. The lens folds out. Looks in pretty good order. The bellows look okay. So we'll just check the model number of that and see if it's a very collectible model or not. And we'll probably put all the accessories with it. What is, oh, they're filters for the lens. There's a red and a green. They can probably go with it, I think, too. Adapter ring. Yeah, so all those accessories can go. Another filter. They can all go in the kit. The light meter itself looks okay. We might quickly, it's a Hanimex one. We might quickly see online to see if that is worth anything. If it's not worth a great deal, we might just leave it in with the camera and the flash perhaps. Alright, we'll get back to you on that for a price. And now we have a Willow. It's dated 1960. It's probably an ammunition case. It looks army. Willow were a big manufacturer of tinware, a lot of kitchenalia in Australia. But this is stamped V 1960. I'd say it's military. And in it we have just some oxyacetylene goggles. They're very second hand. You can still buy these new and they're pretty cheap. So they're just going to go in the $1 box. As for the tin, I've had these before. They make great storage tins in the shed. And that's what a lot of them, well, obviously this was used for it as well. It might be a $10 tin. I don't think it's anything special. Right, let's get to the bottom of this box. Hang on, we'll move the camera a little bit. Okay, we can see our oil bottles. Let's get them out. This one looks to be the best by a long shot. It's a nicely embossed Mobil oil, 1 Imperial quart. It's got a New South Wales, I'm not sure if you picked that up in the camera, but that's a sandblasted crown with New South Wales. That's by the weights and measures people. And it's an official mark to make sure, or to verify that this bottle holds a quart. Mobil oil embossed on the back. It's still got some oil in it by the looks of it. And a plastic top. It's a Celtex top, a bit broken out. So the top's not worth much. Sometimes the metal tops with the nice logos on them can bring really big money. But this plastic top's a bit more modern. We'll just check the top of the bottle, if I can get the lid off, just to make sure there's no chips or cracks around the top. It looks pretty good. So that will wash up nicely. I'm not sure what these Mobil oil ones are worth. I would guess probably $150, $200 just for the bottle. I'll do some checking on that. I'm only guessing, but pretty well any oil bottle you see with a company name embossed on it rather than just the quart or the pint is going to be clear of $100. Even the common Wakefield Castrol ones are bringing at least $100 now. That's a very nice bottle. I'll get back to you on a price for that. And the other little one is a pint bottle. And something's in it. I don't think it's a bit of glass. It says 1 Imperial pint. Yes. So there's no other embossing on this. This is basically just a clean skin, a generic oil bottle. Again, it's got a New South Wales crown etched onto it, or sandblasted. It's got a tin top, this one, and it's very dirty. It's a shame the top's rusty and lost all its advertising. I think that probably would have been Ampol. Looks like there might have been red there and there's blue around the top. In good condition, that top would have been worth a lot. As it is, probably not very much at all. This cleaned up in the shop should probably still make at least $50. I'll check what the pints are going for at the moment, but I'd say at least 50 for that one, cleaned up. Let me wipe my hands. Okay, not much more in here. We have some matches. Looks like that's the Tigers, but it's not the Richmond Tigers from Victoria. It must be a New South Wales rugby league team or something. I don't follow New South Wales football at all. So this might be a collection of matchboxes. Oh, there we go. That's John Lang from the Easts. See, that's not the football league that I follow, so I have no idea about that. I'll check eBay to see if that's just a standard Redheads. They've all got matches in them by the feel of it, but I'll check these football ones. They may be very collectible. I'll just make sure they are matches in there. Yep, full of matches. So I'll have to check those. What's this one? Federal safety matches. So people do collect matchbox labels, but it's not a big collectible area, and I don't know that many are worth much at all. These other ones might have more value because they're football related. So I'll check those and get back to you on those ones. Okay, we have Singer sewing machine oil, plastic container. It's in mill. It's not going to be collectible really. It's even got a barcode, so we know it's not very old at all. I think barcodes came in the 1980s, thereabouts in Australia. That's still got a little bit of oil in it. That will actually just be useful in my shed. No other value. We have a little hand oil can here. Oop, it's got oil in it. Again, not very old, so probably just useful only and messy. These other ones are very rusty. They feel like they've still got oil in them too. That one's really been beaten up, so I don't see much value at all in that. And the other one here has a foam. I don't know what that's for. Maybe to soak up the leaking oil. This one's looks like it's been in a car crash. It feels like it's got oil in it. It doesn't look to be an older style at all either. So I don't think there's any real value there. What I might do with the oil cans, I might put the 3 messy ones in a box and just put $5 on them, and some farmer will buy them just to use the oil cans. It's probably the best way to get rid of them without having to clean them up. We have a grease gun. This is possibly a motorbike one. I think it's a Teclamet or something like that. Teclamet. I've seen that name a lot and I've never known how to pronounce it. Teclamet, maybe. I'm sure they make them for car toolkits on the older cars and for motorbikes. Basically, it's just a little hand pump grease gun. They're fairly common, and again, it's very oily and dirty. I don't think it's worth the effort to clean up. I'll probably put it in the same box as these oil cans, you know. Let's get rid of this bit of foam. That'll have to be rubbish. There's the top off the oil bottle. These actually bring a bit of money. That's probably worth about $5 for people that have their collectible oil bottles and all the tops and just want the dust caps for them. So we'll probably get $5 for that. This aluminium can is made in Germany. What was in it? I'm not totally sure. Synthetic aluminium sodium silicate. I don't even know what that was for. It's an empty can. He's obviously just used it for hardware. But as a little advertising can, I think I'll clean that up. It's German made. I don't know how old it is. It's got to have a bit of age to it. I think we'll clean that up and we'll probably get at least $5. We might get 10. I'll check eBay on that one. That's all that's in this tub. We have a timber box. We'll get rid of the tub. A very oily timber box. It hasn't got anything particular going for it. There's no sign writing on it. It's only a piece of ply on the bottom. As you can see, it's very oily. It's the perfect box to put these oil cans. And why not, we'll give them the sewing oil as well, sewing machine oil, and the grease gun. And we'll put lubrication center, $10 the lot, including the box. We'll sell that this weekend, I reckon. Oh, I just noticed on our Willow tin here, it is actually marked Department of Defence, H-A-N-S, I don't know what that means. 1945. So, interesting actually, the strap's 1945, but the tin was marked 1960. So perhaps the strap has been repurposed. But I think that does prove that it was an army container of some sort. So what did I say, 10? We might go 15 because it's got a reference to the Department of Defence on it. Okay, time for the lucky dip boxes. Let's go through them quickly and see what we've got. Oh, empty? Well, there you go. Strike out on that one. And all the advertising's rusted off it, so that's really of no value at all. All right, let's go through. This one's got something in it. We have wood screws. We have, oh, these aren't drawing pins. These are the tacks that go around your upholstery, like on your old leather lounge suites and things. This one's heavier. Nuts and bolts. Actually, they're probably quite old ones. That's more of a set screw with the square head. Possibly a Whitworth thread on those. This one, oh, it's marked rivets. I wonder if they're all labelled. There you go. Copper rivets and steel rivets, maybe. They're galvanised. Let's see. Yep, steel rivets. Now, incidentally, this one's in better condition, but still not very good. It's, what is it, State Express. I think they're a fairly common tin anyway, so they would need to be in really good condition to be worth a great deal. We could possibly put all these ones with partial graphics in a box for like $2 a pick, and someone might buy them. But we've got to work out what to do with all the contents. All right, let's go through some. They're all the State Express ones, so whoever acquired them all must have smoked a lot of this particular brand of tobacco. Self-tappers and some wood screws. This one, more wood screws. This one, the tops are getting better. What's in here? Oh, these are better wood screws. They're very good, but still just wood screws. This one, oh, a bit of an assortment, some bolts and a couple of wood screws. Back to some little ones. Oh, a bit of cupboard hardware. And, oh, some different bits in here. Just a bit of plastic. That's brass. That's a little spray nozzle of some sort. I'm not sure what these were off. No, just little linkages and fittings. Be nice to find some clock winding keys or something. I'll use those. More wood screws. More wood screws. And we have, oh, fish hooks. A bit oily, but they're all old fishing hooks. So I'll try not to stab myself. Some tacks. Fairly large tacks and flathead nails. More wood screws. They're nice clean ones again. More wood screws. That's a bit monotonous. That one's empty. It said split pins, but they've split. More wood screws. This one's heavy. Brass screws. Oh, there you go. Well, at least that's a bit different. The brass screws are certainly worth keeping. I've got enough wood screws here. Now, a Strepsils tin. Very, very common again. I had a whole box of these once, and I think I put $2 a pick. They eventually went. Oh, this is a bit different. That's a weight from some very early, like, gold scales. And there's a couple of big chunky square bits of brass. Actually, that's got something embossed. I think that's, oh, it says forge ram. Something like that. I think that's a weight. Yeah, these are all marked with certain weights. Some very tiny ones too. So we'll check those out a bit more, but they're a bit better than just more wood screws. What do we got here? Oh, a bit of variety again. We have, not sure what that's off. That's part of a set of points of an old engine. We have some various, almost looks like a Meccano piece, but it's not. There's a shaver blade in there. There's some copper nails. Interesting. And some small nails. I think they're called braids or brads. All right, bit of an assortment there. But really nothing much of value yet. This one's empty. It said small brass hinges, maybe. Oh, hang on. Just paper? No, it has got something in it. Ah, they are hinges, small brass hinges. They will be handy for some little repair jobs. Okay, they can go in there. That's separate. That's a nicer tin. Champion highest grade cut tobacco. That's at least a $10 tin. I'll check on eBay on that one. I've seen the Champion ones before, so they're not super rare, but it's in much better condition. So that's a nice tin. Band-Aids. Well, a Band-Aid tin. It's pretty rough. They're a common tin again, and I can't even get it open. It feels empty. Yes, it is. Maybe just a couple of dollars. This is a little valve tin for valve cores from tyre valves or tubes. So it's still complete with in the little tin. Probably get 5 for that. This one's heavy. What's in here? 3 Nuns tobacco is very, very common. At least it's in ounces. If you see tobacco tins and they're in grams, you know they're not really that old. Allen keys. And a terminal for electrical wires. So at least it's not wood screws. Right, we've got one row to go. Let's whip through them. Some more rivets, large brass rivets and some copper washers. They will be handy. I think I've got a use for some of those. This one's heavy again. Oh, this is getting more interesting. It looks like the teardrop type knob from an early cupboard, 1920s. I don't know what this little mechanism is. They're brass. Little thumb screws. Yeah, little brass pieces. I don't know what they suit. Interesting. Very interesting. Anyway, if nothing else, we've got some scrap brass, I guess. This feels like small nails, yes. More brass fittings. Just random little gas type fittings. Probably just scrap brass for us. That tin's not bad. We'd probably get at least 5 for that tin. I think this one's empty. Yep. And this one is small, fine threaded screws. Now these are actually really handy for the repairs that I do. When I'm doing up some old equipment, you do need these little flathead machine screws. I had a use for one of those just the other day. So that's not a bad little assortment. We have some self-tappers, and I think these are the clips that hold your fly wire screens on your aluminium windows. Can't read what that says. Little staples. Yep, not much in there. The tin's a bit rough too, that one. Nearly finished. Screws, perhaps. Let's hope they're not wood screws. They are wood screws, but that's alright. They're not bad ones. More wood screws. At least they're the round-headed ones, are a bit different. That's probably the nicest tin we've had so far. So it might nearly get 10 for a good one like that. Some just little staples. They're not much value at all. Small wood screws. More wood screws. Feels like nails again. Oh, little tacks. This one's very heavy and it says, oh, wood screws. Yep, look at that. 3 to go. Maybe nails again, or little brass nails. Yeah. Actually, they've looked like they've been, all the heads have been chopped off them. Interesting. Yeah, that's probably not much good. Maybe in the brass bin. There's another nice tin, so I'll get a few good tins out of it. Empty, oh, nearly empty. There's another valve core. Last one, we saved all the jewellery and the gold sovereigns for the last tin. Nothing. And a box, which isn't anything flash, just a little timber crate. So there we go, nothing outstanding at all. Probably the best value is in a few quite reasonable tins. We'll add up to a few dollars. We'll add them all up for the notepad shortly. Alrighty guys, it's notepad and conclusion time. I've cleaned everything up, I've spread it all out for a good look. It was a bit of fun, even though we didn't find anything outstanding. It's amazing how often you do. Here's the list. There's a few modified prices. The camera, I did check eBay, and in fact I found a few and realised that that little Kodak tag on the front flicks open to make a little stand. So it's not a bad little camera. I've taken it out of its leather case there for the moment. They're not super rare, but they seem to bring reasonable money. I thought 75 was a fair price for that. Some sold for more on eBay plus postage, some didn't quite make that. We have a lot of extras with this, so I think that's pretty fair. The army box went for 15. Here's the big one, $380. I was a little bit off with my values. Oil products and especially original bottles just keep going from strength to strength. It cleaned up very well. I am including the plastic top, and I'm going to put the dust cap on that one because, not that I'm trying to hide the top, but it just looks nice, and it was probably offered anyway. Anyone that's going to buy it will inspect the top, but anyone that's going to buy it will be buying it for the bottle. Now, just to justify that price, I did find one that sold for $360 plus $20 postage with 17 bids, so that's exactly that price, and it didn't have a top. There was another one had to buy it now at $3.99, so I think that will sell through the shop eventually. I'm not going to rush it, but the right collector will certainly pay that money. 60 on the point was around about right. The matches, I found quite a few, and they weren't really of any interest to most people. Sometimes they sold, but most times they didn't, so $5 a lot. The other things, the German tin, I couldn't find anything about that. I just thought $10 on that one. I did try and clean it up, and it whatever's on there is, I think, on there permanently. But it kind of gives it a nice vintage look anyway. I don't want it looking shiny aluminium. The Champion tobacco tin, I went for 20 on that. There was a few online, and they were selling, and some were making 30, 35. This one's down a little bit on condition, but not too bad. So I reckon we'll get 20 for that one. The Valve Cores tin, 5. All these better tins here, I was going $5 each. I did smear a little bit of beeswax over them, so they come up pretty well. So we've gone $5 each on those. Now, the other little surprise, oh yeah, I'll go through the rest of that in a tick. The other little surprise was these little brass weights. Now, I've done a little bit of research on these. It's quite interesting. They're weights of an older obsolescent system for pharmacists. Now, it's the apothecary weight system, I believe, and it starts at 1 grain, and then we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 grains, and then it goes to scruples. So there's 20 grains in a scruple. That one's half a scruple, that one's 1 scruple, 2 scruples, and then there's 3 scruples to a dram. So they're all 1 dram. That one is 4 dram. And this one doesn't kind of fit, that's in grams, so 10 grams. So I think there's 8 grams to an ounce. So 2 of these ones make an ounce. And all these are just really thin little sheets of brass and just stamped with their particular weight. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to put them back in this tin, and I think I'll ask $20 for that set of little weights. It's just something you don't find very often. What else do we have? Well, just a bit of general hardware, a bit of scrap metal. I've put some of the hardware into jars, including the Allen keys. We'll get $5 for those. They were all the Goodwood screws. I think we'll get $5 for those. And a lot of the other clearly second-hand and rusty ones I put in a bigger jar, and we will get $5 for those. People that do restoration on old furniture do like those. All these tins I'll probably either just put out at $1 a pick. Some of them aren't too bad, and I reckon they'll sell pretty quickly. Others, there's nothing left on them at all. So $1 a pick for those, just to clear them out. And a little bit of sundry hardware here. There's some old brass fittings that I'll possibly use because they sort of suit old fuel lines from early engines, so I may use some of those. The little brass hinges I will use. I kind of like that little start plaque. I might put that on something that I want to start. So I'll keep the little brass hardware. There's some self-tappers here, but not enough to be of any value. There's some just general hardware, bolts and nuts here, not much value. All this was scrap brass, and there's about $5 worth of scrap brass. I don't know why all the heads were cut off these nails, but they were. And there's just random fittings here that I'll never use, and bits that I don't really even recognise, so, and screws that are damaged. So about $5 worth of brass. A few other bits and pieces. That ferrule there is aluminium. They'll just go in the heavy melt steel, those bits. And these are just the pad bolt latch things. I'll just throw them in another box of hardware at the shop. And lastly, I'm keeping these little bits. There's some nicer nickel-plated brass screws here. Some nice round-headed wood screws. I don't have any of those in my collection. I'll keep these little upholstery pins. The rivets I'll keep. Some small wood screws. I don't have very many small ones. And the brass ones I do use. And the machine screws. So I haven't worked out... Well, I did allow a value for that. And all these tins are pretty average nothing tins. They just would have been in the $1 box. The best tins I've put over there. I think that's enough commentary on all that. Let's look at the total. $705. Most of that value, of course, was in that nice oil bottle. But even the tins at $5 each, there was 8 good ones, $40. So there we go. I'm sure that's a lot more than what Jackie was expecting it to be worth. Of course, that's what I hope to get for it. If I take off about an hour's labour for cleaning things up, that's not counting filming time, say $50 deduction, and then divide that figure by 3, we're around about $220. I didn't bring a pen out to write that down, but I'm going to give Jackie $220 cash for this stuff, and I hope to triple my money and cover a bit of my time. Of course, sometimes we do get things stolen from the shop, and sometimes people haggle down on the price, but I aim to triple. That way I can make a good living, and people should be fairly happy with the price I give them, because for Jackie to try and get this money, well, she probably would have got it off the oil bottle if she had have eBayed it, but the rest of it she wouldn't have had any avenue to sell, whereas I can sell it or use it. So there we go. So thanks for watching, guys. Bit of a longer video, but there was a lot to talk about. What do you think? I'm pretty happy to go through this deal. I like saving this stuff. A lot of times people do clean out a shed and put it in the skip, and I've even seen these sort of bottles go in the recycling bin. So for someone that doesn't know and is just cleaning out a shed, if they come to me, well, I'm going to make money out of it, but they'll get a fair price back and we'll save everything from going to the tip. That's how I like to work anyway. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.